All right, children, gather around, gather around. Let me tell you a story about the internet of old. Back when people used to actually have fun when they weren't online. Back when Reddit was like the 4chan of today. Actually, it was even more edgy, I could say. And then censorship happened. I think like the first subreddit that disappeared was R Fat People Hate. Like, just so you can understand the type of platform that Reddit used to be, right? Like, R Fat People Hate got zooked. It got zooked because it was posting memes that were too funny, was making fun of some of the people that will later on become Reddit moderators themselves. And so let's all press F to pay respects. But what's interesting now is that as we look back at why the censorship happened, it's actually very interesting because, like, on the surface, it looks ideological in nature. It looks as if, well, like feminism was taking over, so like a lot of people wanted more feminist values on the internet. But then when you actually know the history, you notice situations like with the Battletech community. So like the Battletech community, it had a very large subreddit, which was operated by people that weren't associated with the company. And so the company had a community manager, which was incredibly ideologically possessed, but very good at her job. And what she did is she went to the subreddit of Battletech and gave them an ultimatum. She said that either you allow me to bring my Marxist mods to take over the community, or my company will start providing you with early access. Like, you guys will not get a single peep from our company. And we can just go into a different subreddit and give them the same offer. And so they handed the subreddit to her, and you get to notice that while on the surface, it looks ideologically motivated, that they wanted to crack down on hate speech or whatever, at the end of the day, it was a corporate power grab. Because if the biggest fan subreddit, where people talk about the company, is being co-opted by the company itself, well, you're only going to get positivity, right? And this is pretty much what's happening today. Right? Like, they're bitching about Elon's platform. Like, I know that Elon may or may not have done the based salute, but his platform isn't a powerhouse of free speech. However, it does allow people to shit talk on gaming companies. And this is what's happening. Like, there has been a very strong, significant push against gaming companies, which ended up with studios being shut down, ended up with people losing their jobs, ended up with certain companies being placed in a difficulty because, like, 3 years ago, you needed to have at least one gay character in your video game. Nowadays, it seems that even having one gay character in your video game is going to get a lot of people upset. And so since video games have a 4-year development cycle, a lot of these publishers are really upset about the changing culture. It's like, we created a game for the culture of then, and now the culture of now is making it difficult for us to sell it. And so they really despise Twitter. They really despise Asmongold. They really despise grooms. They really despise YouTubers. And so it seems that this message, which shows concern over what's being discussed on X, I think is like defending corporate interests. I think that they don't want people to shit talk certain games which are woke. In other words, almost all of them coming from the AAA Western industry. Because as I mentioned before, like, video game development cycle is at least 4 years. And so what we're seeing now is the video games that were made during the peak of woke culture, 2021, 2020. So they don't want, stuff that comes from grooms, stuff that comes from Endymion, stuff that comes from me, right? So they want to build the same echo chamber. The problem, though, is that the numbers aren't on Reddit. Like, people stopped going on Reddit to get their information for video games. It used to be that Reddit was actually the front page of the internet. That's how it branded itself. And so you would get the news on Reddit way before they would be published by the media. Like, some person would discover something or they would videotape something that happened in their town, and they would post it on Reddit before the media could even get a hold of it. In fact, like, a lot of mainstream media articles were actually taken from Reddit. But that doesn't happen anymore. Why? Because X is now the front page of the internet. I would say X is even before YouTube. Like, most news sources, like, please correct me if I'm wrong, most news sources get commented on X first, and if you want local news, you gotta go on Facebook. Even though a lot of people don't use Facebook anymore, if something happens in your neighborhood and someone posts it online, like, let's be honest, chances are it's either X or Facebook. And so, like, Reddit going, oh, we're going to close our door. Who fucking cares? Like, the main problem that they're having is that people don't even care about AAA Western games anymore. Like, people are apathetic, you know? Because, like, before, you had websites like Reset Era, which were hyper-censored. Or NeoGAF, right? And the thing is, like, developers would go there, and they would share certain news. They would talk about the industry. But because people were actually passionate about the games, they would put up with the censorship. The problem that AAA games have now is that people don't even hate their games anymore. They just don't give a fuck. Like, I'm looking at the new Ubisoft Assassin's Creed Shadows that's supposed to come out. I don't even hate it. I just make fun of it. Like, that's the only entertainment. It's like making fun of the people thinking they can sell something like that. But other than that, you know, if a developer comes out and talks about the game and tells me, I don't fucking care. And it got to this point, which wasn't a thing 10 years ago. Like, 10 years ago, I would have been like, well, this game looks really bad. But if a developer came out and started talking, it's like, okay, well, maybe it's got, like, some gameplay things that I like. Maybe it's got, like, some innovative way to do the quest or... But now they're not innovating. Like, it's almost like it's the same fucking game. The Last of Us 2, Assassin's Creed... Ghost of Tsushima, you know, like, very similar in the fact that it's over-the-shoulder bullshit, and the concept is kind of similar, a little bit of stealth here and there, nothing major, you know, and this is the thing, like, a lot of people are just bored of these games. And then you also add the bugs, and you also add the social justice messaging, and you also add everything else that constantly just distracts. So it detracts from the game rather than add. And so as you can see, it's like, oh yes, the X has become increasingly hateful, toxic, and less moderated. You know, the implication that a place that's moderated to the extreme is actually a place that's moderated to the bare necessity is wild to me. It's like, why would human beings want to associate themselves with Karens? Like, no one likes a Karen, you know? Just let adults be adults. Let people create their own spaces. That's the thing. So this made us uncomfortable with letting our subreddit link it to other people, not to mention the distasteful things Elon Musk has done recently. Well, like the base salute. Oh my goodness. In interest of not stifling discussion and creating a better user experience. See, like another thing that really bothers people is this double think. Like, when you say that to create discussion, we need to censor, people think you're retarded when you say shit like that. But, like, people pretend that they go along with it. Oh yes, war is peace, freedom is slavery. Oh my fucking god. So they want to allow content from X to be submitted as a screenshot, as well as adding this to the exemption list on our original source rule. So if you find a web article that says exactly what the tweet does, you're free to link that instead. Oh, so in other words, like, they can link my YouTube videos, but they can't actually link the tweet? Any questions or other suggestions? Well, I would have some, but I would be violating the TOS. Let me know what you guys think. And as usually, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.